What's up, everybody? Welcome to Unfiltered. What's up, guys? Today we're talking about something that literally saved my sanity as an entrepreneur: systems. When I started my business, I thought hustle was the only way to grow, but hustle nearly broke me. Once I put systems in place, everything changed. A little bit of my backstory: started the cleaning business back in 2012. Worked for a cleaning company. I thought, hey, if I can do this, and I was doing the hardest of the hardest jobs. I was mopping floors, cleaning bathrooms, stripping and refinishing, carpet cleaning, pretty much all of it. And I think that's mainly the hardest part of the cleaning industry. Was doing it, did it for a while. It was a part-time job. I had a full-time job, so I was supplementing my income. After a while, I kind of realized, hey, I can do this. I think I can grow a business. I can pretty much scale this. That didn't seem like an expensive business to start. Just dove right in, right? Started creating a logo, started creating a website, hit the ground running, started reaching out, got business cards, started doing the door-to-door stuff. I thought pretty much that was the only way to really grow, was just hustling, going door-to-door, word of mouth, and the rest will kind of figure itself out. So in the beginning, I was it took me about 2 years to get my first client. So there was a lot of grunt work that I was doing, pretty much doing everything. So I'm doing the sales, which there wasn't any, but I was trying to sell. If I did land, and at the time, we did cleaning for everybody. I think the first or second episode, we talked about how somebody, said, hey, you should do everything. Don't limit yourself, right? And then it created chaos because now you got to do scheduling, residential, floors, carpets, stripping and waxing, janitorial. There's just a lot of pieces going on. And at the time, I didn't know those were all individual businesses that you scale up to. So we were doing a little bit of everything in our head, right? In the 2-year process, there may have been a residential maid service that we provided and little things like that. Our first janitorial client took about 2 years, but that was literally a lot of the mundane tasks that we were doing. So sales, a little bit of cleaning, maybe in a couple of residential properties. I was the one quoting, so I had to figure out how to get quotes and scripts online where I can kind of edit it to our stuff. The first thing I got was QuickBooks, which was our bookkeeping software. And I had no idea about bookkeeping. And quite frankly, I don't know much about that now. Obviously, we have an accountant and we got bookkeepers on staff, a couple of them. And they kind of take care of everything. But at the time, that's what we had. That's what I was doing. It was just all over the place. I mean, I was on my computer in the mornings trying to create different designs and for email templates and for, door-to-door hangers and, purchasing them on some websites where I can print them out and, hand them out and all that stuff. It was just a lot going on. And I wasn't a marketer. I didn't have any of those backgrounds. This was just me trying to hustle and get the business moving forward, literally. I remember when we tried to, I think it was around the time when we landed our first client. We only had it for 3 months, but it was enough where I quit my job. So it was paying us more the job was paying us more than my job was. So I quit my job. And at the time, it only lasted about 3 months, but I didn't know that. So I remember it was a restaurant and I don't know if it was our first or second, but it was a restaurant. And I remember it was cleaning 11 to like 5 in the morning. And I would wake up every morning to complaints and complaints and complaints every single day because either somebody quit or didn't show up, or the people that were applying, I didn't even know how to hire. I was just whoever posted on Craigslist and whoever called, I was pretty much giving them the shop. And the training wasn't really that good because I wasn't really, really sure how to train and, develop things. And I just knew I was going to do a really good job cleaning. But at the time, I didn't know. People don't care. They just there for the check, and you'll be lucky if they even want to get that far because they'll just quit on you. So just the stress of 7 days a week, overnight, people not showing up, waiting for that phone call in the morning. You couldn't even sleep. I mean, I was waking up middle of the night saying, does somebody go over there? Should I stop in? Should I not? You can't even get a good night's sleep because you're constantly worried about who's going to go to that job. Are they going to show up? Are they not? We didn't have punch-in softwares. We didn't have none of that stuff where I can just kind of check in and say, hey, all right, at least they're there. Maybe they'll complain because they didn't do a good job, but at least they were there. We didn't have any of that stuff. So it was a complete disaster. And I remember the third month that we lost it, now I didn't have a job and I didn't have that. And I had a newborn baby at the time. And my wife was looking at me like, what are we going to do? We got to make this work somehow. And in reality, I was telling myself, like, if this is what the cleaning business is all about, I want no part of it. Absolutely none. I was burning out with my first or second contract. I don't know if it was first or second, I can't remember. But I was already burning out. And that just was so demoralizing. Breaking point for me, I saw a video on YouTube and I was watching other people at the time. This was 13, 12 years ago, where they were just kind of giving advice. Hey, this is what we did to structure our business. This is what we did to kind of just get rid of the chaos. Where, for example, for us, where I decided to follow is janitorial, Monday through Friday, 5 to 10, nothing else. You called me for carpet cleaning, sorry, we don't do that. You called me for residential cleaning, sorry, we don't do that. You called me for a restaurant, sorry, we don't do that. You called me for a movie theater, sorry, we don't do that. We literally structured it this way. And as I started landing accounts, this worked because from 5 to 10, I was on. I can go to the location. I can talk to the staff. I can make sure that things were getting done and moving forward. And that eliminated that complaint the next day. So as that started going, I said, now we got something. This is what we can build off of. Before, when you try to do everything for everyone, there's a lot of money in it, right? You can get it, but if it's going to drive you crazy, what's the point? So this way you can structure it and build it and build it and build it and build it to eventually build a big enough mountain to make a living off of, right? Once that mental shift happened and I realized that we can actually build this big, I made it my job. That was it. I said, this is exactly how we're going to build this. This is how we're going to move forward. And myself and maybe 2 or 3 team members at the time, this was probably 2015, 2016. We were just handling clients. I kept passing on a couple of jobs. We never did any 1099s. Everything was W-2. So we hired our own employees, which 1099s work great. We did that for floors. So if we had a carpet for our client or stripping and refinishing, we had another company come in and, we did that too. So that's all great. You can do it however you decide. We did W-2s. We were able to build that and actually make that a successful business. All right. So the first system that we built in our business was just a checklist, right? So as our staff started going to those locations, we had a checklist for that location. This is everything that needs to get done. I need you to check it off and sign it at the end of the night. Send me a picture, collect them, and at the end of the week, I collected them. So that was the first system that we put into place, where we were able to kind of monitor and say, hey, you did this, you did this, you did this, right? I couldn't be in every location every single day, even though I tried, but that 5-hour window, if I'm helping or somebody called out or somebody quit, I have to assist and kind of help and do all that stuff. So those are the good old days, the early days. So that helped a lot with just monitoring complaints. Obviously, there was like a lot of people who over the years started to check it off and never did it, and check it off and never did it, and check it off and never did it. I even had supervisors, quick little story, I even had supervisors that would go through our software on Google and they would do the inspection sheets just like willy-nilly, sign it. And then I would have to, once I figured it out, then I would have to go into the location and say, you check this off, but this is not done. You check this off, this is not done. So there's plenty of loopholes that people will try to get away with, but nonetheless, this at least worked where there was a check and balance, and that helped. And then I confirmed the next day, or I would just follow up. Delegating and scheduling. So this was the next thing. We would delegate so we would take 2 or 3 jobs, we'd delegate it to one person, 2 or 3 jobs, another person, and then we would have a supervisor that we would delegate the inspections to and coverage, and making sure that if somebody was called out, that location was filled. And on days that no one calls out, you're inspecting all of those buildings. All right, so some of the tools that we use, QuickBooks, we still use QuickBooks mainly for billing. We use Paychecks for our HR, payroll, everything that has to do with staff and employee. Slack for internal communications with our VAs and our internal team. We use Go High Level for all our automations, emails, landing pages, all that good stuff. Google G Suite for Google Meets calls with the team, emails, all that good stuff. Hard drive, we use everything for transferring documents and different things like that. These systems were able to help me run the business without me, because once we had our office manager, operations manager, and all the other team members, we can use all these softwares to delegate everything and just say, hey, this is done, here's the document or this. And it was able to just streamline things without it all coming to me necessarily. It goes into a drive and everyone has access, and you're able to systemize things where it doesn't just come to me, to my email, to my cell phone. It's now all in one area. Training and delegation. So how we taught our team was generally through video recording. We would create a video. Hey, this is how this software runs. This is how you use it. This is how we need to create this, whatever the software may have been. And we were able to use that as an SOP, and people can use those videos to continue to train. So if they need to access something and they don't know how to do it, they can go back to that video. They can go to the section of whatever the issue is, click on it, learn it, implement it, and that's pretty much that. So a little bit about the softwares. When we first started implementing a lot more softwares, this would be like Slack, Paychecks, punch-in systems, and different things like that. There's a little bit of pushback, right? It's tough to get the team to go from texting to maybe Slack, the Slack app, and different things like that, because everyone's not savvy on all this new technology and everything we have going on. But if you're persistent, they'll be persistent. And once they realize the benefits and how easy it makes everything for them, then that's when people start to step up and say, yes, this is a good software, this is a good program. I'm gonna join in and I'm gonna just take part and do everything we need to. Slack was really, really big for us specifically because if I message you something and we need to make sure that we upload or we send something or we need to verify and all that stuff, you can go back and hit the search tab and say, I had a conversation with X person and this is what we talked about, and it'll pull up that message. If you're texting your staff, good luck finding that thread, because you're going to be scrolling where you're not going to be able to access it, right? Or you're going to just dig, right? You may have personal conversation, you may have business conversation, but it's not easy. So a lot of that stuff, especially as we got bigger, there's a lot more situations going on, whether it's internal, external. Being able to search those types of conversations are a huge, huge help. My day-to-day, so how do systems help me today? It helps me with everything. I mean, for the most part, I have to use my phone has got all our softwares. Everything we need on a day-to-day basis goes right to my phone. So I still use my phone as is my phone. Now I use a whole bunch of apps and a bunch of things that help me run the business, right? I'm still going to walkthroughs. I'm still the main salesperson in our business. I'm still there day to day. So a lot of what I do runs off of either my computer or my phone. So it helps me tremendously because if someone needs access to somebody else, where they need to get a document and I'm on the road, everybody has access to either Google Drive or Slack or any other software we use to be able to successfully use or get whatever it is that they need without having me send everything to them or everything comes to me. So my best advice I can give you guys would be start with one system, one SOP, one tool. You'll gain back more time than you ever think. And after you learn that, continue to just keep adding and adding and adding and make it over a course of some time, not just in a short week or 2 weeks. Make it a part of the system. All right, guys. So make sure that you share this episode with a friend that's stuck in the hustle. DM me systems for the free SOP template that I would provide and my favorite tools. Next time, we'll talk about hiring your first key team members and what I did wrong. See you next time.